Most traders lose not because the market is difficult, but because they insist on playing a game their mind was never designed to win. The 5-minute chart turns trading into a reflex contest. It forces decisions before thought can mature. Every candle demands attention. Every tick whispers urgency, and urgency is the enemy of judgment. On that time frame, price is not information, it is agitation. It provokes reaction instead of reasoning. A trader begins to feel busy, active, involved, and mistakes that feeling for progress. But activity is not achievement. The market does not reward movement, it rewards alignment. The 1-hour chart strips away this illusion. It slows price to a pace where intention becomes visible. Instead of noise, you see structure. Instead of impulse, you see balance and imbalance forming over time. This distance gives the trader room to think, and thinking is the real edge. When decisions are rushed, risk is emotional. Stops are placed out of fear, exits are delayed by hope, and losses feel personal. On the hourly chart, risk becomes mathematical. You know where you are wrong before you enter, and being wrong no longer feels like failure. It feels like execution. Professionals understand that the market does not need to be conquered, it needs to be respected. They do not hunt every fluctuation. They wait for the market to come to them. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is discipline in action. The 5-minute chart trains impatience. It teaches the trader to interfere, to adjust, to meddle. The hourly chart teaches restraint. It forces selectivity. You cannot trade everything, so you must trade only what matters. This is how consistency is built, not through brilliance, but through refusal. Refusal to overtrade. Refusal to act without clarity. Refusal to confuse excitement with opportunity. Large moves are born quietly. Accumulation does not announce itself on small charts. Distribution does not collapse in 5 minutes. These processes take time, and time is visible only when you step back. Institutions operate on structure, not on flickers. If you trade where structure is invisible, you trade blind. The trader who survives long enough learns a hard truth. The market punishes those who need action. It rewards those who can sit through boredom without manufacturing trades. The hourly chart aligns trading with human psychology. It reduces emotional fatigue. It preserves mental capital. It allows discipline to exist long enough to compound. Winning is not about predicting the next move. It is about positioning yourself so that when the move comes, you are calm, prepared, and already decided. The trader who masters this does not feel clever. He feels steady. And steadiness over time is what turns speculation into profession. The market exposes weakness long before it rewards strength, and nowhere is that weakness revealed faster than on the lower time frames. The 5-minute chart feeds the illusion of control. It convinces the trader that by watching closely enough, reacting quickly enough, he can outsmart uncertainty. In reality, the opposite happens. The closer you stare, the less you see. Every minor fluctuation appears important. Every candle feels decisive, and soon the trader is no longer trading a plan but managing emotions in real time. Fear enters early, confidence disappears quickly, and discipline becomes negotiable. The 1-hour chart corrects this imbalance. It restores proportion. It reminds the trader that markets move in phases, not impulses. Trends develop, consolidate, and resolve over time, and that time element is essential. Without it, you are trading fragments instead of structure. Professionals understand that clarity comes from distance. They step back not because they are cautious, but because they want to see the full battlefield before committing resources. On the hourly chart, levels matter. Support and resistance are earned, not guessed. Breakouts have meaning because they occur after preparation, not because price jumped suddenly. This changes the trader's behavior. Entries are planned instead of chased. Stops are respected instead of widened. Losses are accepted instead of defended. The trader begins to act like a risk manager rather than a gambler. The 5-minute chart encourages interference. Every small move invites adjustment. Stops are moved, targets are questioned, and the original idea slowly dissolves under pressure. On the hourly chart, there is less temptation to interfere because there is less noise demanding attention. This quiet strengthens resolve. It allows the trader to let the trade work without emotional supervision. Most traders sabotage good positions not because the setup was wrong, but because they could not sit still. The hourly chart trains stillness. It teaches the trader that patience is not passive, it is active restraint. It also aligns expectations with reality. You stop expecting instant results and start measuring progress correctly. This reduces frustration, and reduced frustrati leads to better decisions. Professionals know that trading is not about proving intelligence. It is about surviving long enough for probability to express itself. Survival requires discipline, and discipline requires an environment where discipline can exist. The 5-minute chart is hostile to discipline. The 1-hour chart supports it. Over time, this difference compounds. Fewer trades mean fewer mistakes. Clearer structure means higher conviction. Higher conviction means cleaner execution. Clean execution is what separates professionals from everyone else. The trader who commits to this approach does not feel excitement. He feels alignment. And alignment, sustained over time, is what turns random outcomes into consistent results. Most traders believe discipline is something you apply after you enter a trade. They think they can decide first and manage later. This misunderstanding is what keeps them trapped in cycles of inconsistency. Discipline is not a reaction, it is a filter. It determines whether a trade is allowed to exist in the first place. The 1-hour chart enforces this filter naturally. It does not offer endless opportunities. It presents fewer situations, but those situations carry weight. Each setup demands intention. On the 5-minute chart, ideas form quickly and collapse just as fast. There is no time for commitment, only adjustment. This constant adjustment erodes confidence. A trader begins to doubt not the market, but himself. The hourly chart reverses this damage. It creates space between thought and action. That space is where professionalism lives. When a trader can observe without acting, he regains control over his behavior. Control is the edge. Markets are uncertain by nature, but behavior does not have to be. Professionals build rules that protect them from themselves, and those rules function best on higher time frames. On the 1-hour chart, a setup has time to develop. You see failure early without panic. You see success unfold without interference. This teaches trust, not in the market, but in your process. Trust is built through repetition of correct behavior, not through profits. The 5-minute chart interrupts this learning. Constantly resets the emotional state. One win creates overconfidence, one loss creates fear, and the trader oscillates between extremes. The hourly chart smooths these swings. It reduces the frequency of emotional stimuli, allowing the trader's mindset to stabilize. Stability is necessary for consistency. Without it, even good strategies fail. Another critical difference lies in how losses are experienced. On lower time frames, losses feel frequent and personal. They arrive quickly, sometimes back-to-back, leaving no time for emotional recovery. This pressure leads to revenge trading and overexposure. On the hourly chart, losses are spaced out. They are processed logically. The trader has time to review, adjust, and recommit to the plan without urgency. This preserves mental capital. Mental capital is finite, and once depleted, even the best setups are executed poorly. Professionals guard this capital fiercely. They know that protecting the mind is more important than protecting any single trade. The hourly chart supports this protection by reducing noise and increasing clarity. It encourages the trader to focus on execution quality rather than outcome. Over time, this focus reshapes identity. The trader stops seeking validation from the market. He no longer needs constant engagement. He becomes selective, deliberate, and calm. Calm is not weakness in trading. Calm is readiness. When the market finally presents a true opportunity, the trader is not tired, not emotional, not distracted. He is prepared. And preparation, more than prediction, is what defines professional success. The greatest advantage the professional trader has is not intelligence, experience, or even strategy. It is restraint. Restraint is what keeps capital intact, while others bleed slowly through overexposure. The 5-minute chart undermines restraint at every turn. It constantly suggests that something is happening, that a move is forming, that an opportunity is being missed. This pressure to participate creates urgency, and urgency erodes standards. A trader begins to lower criteria, to justify marginal setups, to trade out of boredom rather than conviction. Over time, this behavior becomes normal and losses become routine. The 1-hour chart removes this pressure. It does not beg for attention. It does not create false urgency. It allows the trader to operate from choice rather than impulse. Choice is power. When you are not forced to act, you can afford to be selective. Selectivity is what separates speculation from professionalism. On the hourly chart, the market must earn your participation. Price must reach meaningful areas. Structure must form. Conditions must align. If they do not, nothing is done. This sounds simple, but it is extremely difficult for those addicted to action. Professionals understand that doing nothing is often the most profitable decision. Capital preserved is opportunity stored. Another critical difference is how time frames shape expectations. On the 5-minute chart, traders expect immediate results. When price does not respond quickly, doubt appears. Doubt leads to interference. Interference leads to mistakes. On the 1-hour chart, time is built into the expectation. Trades are allowed to breathe. Pullbacks are normal. Consolidation is accepted. This patience prevents premature exits and emotional adjustments. It aligns the trader with how markets actually move, not how he wishes they would move. Professionals do not rush the market because they know the market cannot be rushed. They align with its rhythm. The hourly chart reveals this rhythm clearly. It shows when the market is resting and when it is preparing to move. Acting during preparation rather than reaction is what creates favorable risk to reward. Lower time frames reverse this logic. They encourage reaction after movement has already occurred. By then, risk is elevated and reward is limited. Over time, this asymmetry destroys accounts quietly. The trader may win often, but the losses outweigh the gains. Professionals focus on asymmetry, not frequency. They care less about being right and more about being paid correctly when they are right. The 1-hour chart supports this mindset. It makes large moves accessible without excessive stress. It allows positions to develop naturally. It removes the need for constant supervision. This reduces emotional fatigue, which is a hidden cost few traders account for. Fatigue leads to sloppy execution, even with good analysis. By trading less frequently but with higher quality, professionals protect their inner GUI as well as their capital. Energy, once depleted, cannot be recovered quickly. The trader who understands this stops measuring success by activity and starts measuring it by sustainability. Sustainability is the true goal. Profits are simply a byproduct of surviving long enough to let probability work. Professional traders understand something that most never accept. The market does not reward effort, attention, or intensity. It rewards positioning. Positioning requires perspective, and perspective is impossible when you are too close to the noise. The 5-minute chart pulls the trader into the noise. It compresses information until meaning is lost. Price moves appear significant simply because they are frequent. This creates the illusion that opportunity is everywhere. In reality, true opportunity is rare. The 1-hour chart restores rarity. It filters out insignificant movement and reveals only what matters. This alone changes behavior. When opportunities are scarce, they are treated with respect. Preparation replaces improvisation. Execution becomes deliberate rather than reactive. Professionals do not need constant stimulation. They need accuracy. Another subtle but critical difference lies in how time frames shape identity. Traders who live on lower charts begin to define themselves by short-term outcomes. A single loss feels damaging. A small win feels validating. This emotional dependency ties self-worth to recent results, creating instability. The hourly chart breaks this cycle. It stretches outcomes over time, reducing emotional attachment to individual trades. Results are viewed as part of a sequence, not as judgments. This detachment is essential. Without it, discipline collapses under pressure. Professionals are detached, not because they do not care, but because caring too much clouds judgment. Detachment allows consistency. Consistency allows probability to work. Another advantage of the 1-hour chart is its alignment with institutional behavior. Large participants cannot operate on 5-minute impulses. Their size requires planning, accumulation, and distribution over time. These processes leave footprints on higher time frames. The trader who operates on the hourly chart is not predicting institutions, he is observing their impact. This observation reduces guesswork. It anchors decisions in evidence rather than anticipation. Lower time frames encourage anticipation. They reward early entries that often lack confirmation. While this occasionally produces wins, it more often produces anxiety. Anxiety leads to overmanagement, which erodes edge. The hourly chart encourages confirmation. It demands proof before commitment. This proof may cost a few points of entry precision, but it dramatically improves decision quality. Professionals willingly sacrifice perfection for reliability. Reliability compounds. Precision without reliability does not. Another overlooked factor is how the hourly chart shapes learning. Because trades develop slowly, feedback is clearer. You can review decisions objectively. You see whether your reasoning held or failed without the distortion of rapid-fire outcomes. On lower time frames, feedback is chaotic. Too many variables change too quickly to isolate cause and effect. This slows learning even though trading activity is high. Professionals learn faster by doing less because each action carries meaning. Over time, this builds confidence grounded in evidence, not hope. Confidence of this kind is quiet. It does not seek validation. It does not force trades. It waits. When the moment arrives, execution is calm because the decision was made long before the order was placed. This is how professionals remain steady in an environment designed to destabilize. They choose time frames that support clarity, not excitement, and clarity, sustained over time, is what transforms trading from struggle into structure. The final transformation from struggling trader to professional does not come from discovering a new method, but from accepting a simple truth. Survival comes before profit. Most traders reverse this order. They pursue profit first and hope survival follows. The 5-minute chart feeds this mistake by offering constant opportunity, creating the illusion that money is always within reach. This illusion encourages overexposure. Overexposure guarantees vulnerability. The 1-hour chart corrects this by enforcing patience through scarcity. When opportunities are fewer, capital is protected by default. Protection is not fear, it is respect for uncertainty. Professionals respect uncertainty. They never assume the market owes them anything. They operate from a position of defense first, offense second. This mindset is embedded naturally in higher time frames. On the hourly chart, trades are spaced out, risk is deliberate, exposure is intentional. Each position is chosen, not accumulated. This prevents the slow bleed that destroys most accounts. Another defining characteristic of professionals is their relationship with time. They do not rush results because they understand that Hing increases error. Time is not an enemy to be defeated, it is a filter that reveals truth. The 1-hour chart allows time to do its work. Weak setups fail before entry. Strong setups remain intact through minor fluctuations. This filtering effect dramatically improves decision quality. Lower time frames bypass this filter, forcing the trader to make decisions before clarity exists. Over time, this habit conditions impulsiveness. Impulsive behavior may occasionally be rewarded, but it cannot be relied upon. Professionals build systems that do not require impulse. They require confirmation. Confirmation reduces regret. Regret is one of the most destructive emotions in trading because it leads to revenge and deviation. The hourly chart minimizes regret by aligning action with evidence. Another crucial shift is how professionals view missed trades. On the 5-minute chart, missing a move feels painful. It triggers fear of missing out, which leads to chasing. On the hourly chart, missing a trade is insignificant. Another opportunity will come, and it will be clearer. This reduces emotional urgency. Reduced urgency preserves discipline. Discipline is not rigid control, it is calm adherence to rules under pressure. Professionals do not fight pressure. They design environments where pressure is manageable. Time frame choice is part of that design. The hourly chart also reinforces accountability. Because trades are fewer, each one matters. There is no hiding behind volume. Losses cannot be dismissed as noise. This encourages honest review. Honest review leads to improvement. Lower time frames allow avoidance. Too many trades blur responsibility. Improvement stalls. Professionals embrace accountability because it sharpens judgment. Finally, the hourly chart aligns trading with a sustainable life. Trading should enhance life, not consume it. Constant screen watching creates dependency and fatigue. The professional seeks balance because balance supports longevity. Longevity allows skill to mature. Mature skill is calm, precise, and resilient. The trader who reaches this stage no longer seeks excitement from the market. He seeks clarity. He waits without anxiety, acts without hesitation, and accepts outcomes without drama. This is not because the market became easy, but because his approach became disciplined. And discipline, applied consistently over time, is what transforms probability into profit.